Welcome, people. Just so you know, spoilers are happening today, as usual. And I got some hot tea.
Oh,
that's what I got. Some nice
hot
tea. Yeah.
Dude.
So today is podcast day. It's twofold. It's a twofold Monday. And guess who the host is today?
It's not me.
It's not the
So
it's not the host.
Is it Johnny?
It's not the parasite.
Is it Johnny's
It's me.
first turn?
No,
it's
no Johnny.
No Johnny.
No Johnny.
It's Felipe.
It's me.
So who else is
and
on the
to
show?
celebrate the fact that I am the host and Jake and Tim are my assistants.
Assistants. What I've
the
never
crap
signed up to
is this?
assistants.
Assistant? I'm not an
Yeah, you
assistant.
did.
I'm a co-host. We're all of equal hosting capacities.
We are plebs, when it's not our week, but still, we are not assistants. We're not
Assistance
here to
is not
assist
the
you.
word.
Trust me, guys, I'll be a pleb as well in this episode. Oh, yes.
A pleb
And
like
welcome to Twofold. Johnny, hit it. Very good, very good. So, on tonight's schedule, my name is Phil. I think we talked about that. This is Tim, wonderful man. And
Hello,
then
thank you
Jake.
for calling me wonderful.
Yeah, and Jacob,
Hello.
the also wonderful man, in equal measure.
That's nice.
Thank
you.
What a nice man this Phil is.
That's right. And
I'm also nice.
I think,
man.
would you call yourself a societal parasite?
No.
I would say no.
Not even to an extent?
Maybe
contributor.
Maybe sometimes, but I don't think so.
That's right. We are contributors. We're contributed this quality content for everybody. to
We
listen
contribute with economy, with culture, fine culture.
Culture. With
to. So you wouldn't say you're okay. Never mind. Bad jokes aside, today's first movie is a movie that I've seen like 2 months ago called Parasite, directed by the Bong Joon-ho.
Parasite.
And I'm sure
Why are
you've
we
heard of
watching
it.
The
It's
Parasite
a good
now
question.
when it came out.
Don't ask these questions, Tim.
You are the host.
So as your assistant, I would like to inform you and ask you why.
I'll tell you why. Well, because I felt like chillaxing, relaxing, maxing all cool. Finding out that Parasite is the talk of the school. Everyone's talking about Parasite, and the Oscars just happened, and you saw how it swept this year's awards, right?
It's a clean
Yeah.
sweep, to quote Steven Spielberg.
What is it? Every nomination it got?
I don't know if
It won? I
every
think it is.
nomination.
I think it
But
did.
If it is, then it was a clean sweep.
Every nom was a
Oh, it
win.
won every nom.
It won every nom.
Every
I think.
nom.
I don't know. I didn't have the.
That's-
let me double that.
That's
check
the external reason why
Double that,
we're
check
talking
that,
about
too.
it. The internal reason of why we're talking about it is because I couldn't figure out what other movie to watch. So
laziness. A true parasite.
A true parasite.
A true parasite
Yeah, so
never
this-
touches the cinema.
let's talk about Parasite for a bit. So
I'm ready. That's why I'm here.
it's directed
That's why
by
we're here.
Bong Joon-ho. So were you familiar with Bong Joon-ho before
No.
knowing about this film?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. I have.
Cool.
I have.
Cool. Why when did this happen? What did you watch?
I watched the Western movie he did about the train. It's called
Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer. Exactly, Snowpiercer. So I watched that.
pretty
That's the only
heavy-duty
movie I know
title.
of him. Yep.
Can you guys tell me what that's about?
It's also about class struggle, and this is more of a. Hey, what's that word? It's a type of literature, and it's a comparison. There's a nice little word for it. A parable. There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
Parable. Nice.
It's a parable where you
Yes.
use, I think traditionally use animals or something like that to showcase a human nature, a human culture, a human struggle of some sort in a more metaphoric way, right? Not direct way. So Snowpiercer,
right.
much like Parasite, is showing class struggles, and it's done through this sci-fi train where it's like the far future, the world has frozen over, and there's a train that survives by always going around the world.
Oh, I've heard of this.
Yeah.
And then
But we're not-
at the start of the train is where the plebs are, the workers who keep doing all the dirty work. And, by the end of the train is where the upper class lives, the leaders and, the richmond. And Captain America, one of the plebs, decides to go and fight them all and kill them all, Chris Evans, and find out what's going on and claim the train for them because he's sick of this class struggle. So,
what I love about this is that we're talking about Parasite, but you just gave us the entire synopsis of Snowpiercer. That's great. Well,
I just
in my case,
it was a fun movie.
Yeah, so in my case, I didn't know Bong Joon-ho's name. Like, it wasn't familiar to me. Mm-hmm. But then after I watched the movie and then I looked at his filmography, I realized I watched a movie he did before. And I think, Jake, you watched it with me. We watched The Host.
Oh, I watched that too.
We did watch The Host together, yeah.
Yeah, we watched it like years ago.
That was his movie? Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes, I watched
it's with the same main character actor who played the dad.
Yeah, I remember with The Host.
That's why it was familiar when I was watching Parasite. I was like, that guy looks familiar.
I did that though.
Yeah. It's a good movie, by the way. The Host is fun. You should watch it.
He did.
But yeah, Parasite.
Ocha, the Netflix movie too. Ocha.
Yeah, the one that got booed in Cannes.
Because it was Netflix or what?
Yes.
The Cannes and the Oscars don't like Netflix. Did you notice that on the Oscar nominations? If you compare it to like the Golden Globes, so many Netflix nominations, but Oscar nothing basically.
So,
everything that's Netflix.
So
don't want to touch.
These people can't survive in the cold. Is that why they're on the train?
Yeah, like you die. If you go out, you'll die in a couple of It's a sci-fi parable. It's not meant to be.
Yeah, no,
it's a great movie.
It's premise.
And I think it's a lot more violent and a lot more action-oriented and a lot more sci-fi, while still being kind of the same as Parasite. But I think Parasite, I think the Snowpiercer was more the ending. I don't want to spoil it, but it's more explainy. It's like you kind of figure it out what it is halfway through, and then in the end, I think I may be judging here, but it's kind of like made for the Western audience, like beat you over the head of like what the answer is, like 1,000 times, and you're like, I get it, I understand. You don't have to do this to me. Well, Parasite is different. So, what is Parasite about, Phil?
So it's funny because like before I say what it's about, I'm sure many people who are listening to this podcast watched it, because the fun thing about this movie is that it started really small and then just through word of mouth it just got bigger and bigger. I think that's what they call a sleeper hit, which The Matrix was, I think, as well, because like it started small and then everybody watched it and they're like, whoa, and it gets bigger and bigger, and then Parasite got really big near the beginning of this year, and it came out in May in 2019. But when did you I first heard about it when I saw some people tweeting about it, maybe like in November. And then I liked the premise because someone mentioned class, something, people, money, and stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? I probably should watch this movie. And then we decided we almost were going to watch it for like a November or December episode for a podcast. Do you remember that?
Could be.
No, I don't remember.
We almost chose Parasite. I think, Tim, you suggested watching that, but I've heard of it before, but you suggested watching it once, and we almost did, but then we switched it to a different movie.
Okay. Well, I knew about it like again, like hype. Like I didn't know what it was about at all. I just knew people were putting it on list like midway through the year, like the top movie of the year. So it was on my list is like for the podcast. Like if we land on this, I want to watch that movie and talk about it because I've heard nothing but good things about it.
When I saw the poster and heard about it, I thought that it was a similar film to the Host. I thought when it said Parasite, I thought, oh, this might be a very sort of like black humor but dark, where it's some supernatural or alien. Or just
I thought like it was gotcha. Like the pod people are like, what's it called,
or some symbiote, black goop or something that gets lodged into people and it makes them go insane or evil or something like that, and makes
Did we watch the Meat Gun for this podcast?
Oh no, we didn't.
No, I don't. Meat Gun? I don't know.
Why did we watch the Meat Gun movie?
I hate being reminded of
Why did we
watch Existenz? Because someone from the Matrix Minute, our other podcast, suggested it because he was talking about
that was for
reality.
The Matrix Minute, which is our second podcast.
And by the way,
anyway,
every time,
can I
let's not mention the movie because every time I get reminded of it, I wish I hadn't been reminded of it. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Meat gun movie.
Enough of the meat guns.
So Parasite, I watched it sometime I watched it in January. That's when I watched it. And then I started saying, oh, it's pretty good. And then I showed Jacob and I told him like, oh, you should watch it. It's pretty good. I liked it. And then I was like sort of asking other people. I mean, other people are asking me what it's about. And then I guess what it boils down to is that there's this poor family. I mean, they're not the best. They're not.
I think it's if you say this poor family, it's gonna make it sound like
Poor
it's
them.
like an adjective. Oh, poor family.
No, they're economically,
Financially, yes,
financially poor, and they need to figure out a way to make money, right? Pretty much, and they're living in this basement in like the lowest part of the city, and they then their son just finds out that a connection that he has to go out for the summer. But I think that's what it was. This is a long time since I've seen this movie.
Yes.
Years and years.
And his
connection is a tutor.
His connection is a tutor, and he invites him to tutor this rich teenager from this rich family that lives somewhere up there. And in heaven,
above.
I think I'm the worst at doing these synopses.
You are, because you always go on the small detail. It's really hilarious.
The details, and then you start going further in the details, and it's like they actually don't live on their house.
Questioning yourself.
The street actually, is it curved or is it straight?
And then he I'm gonna try. And then he goes and he gets the job by his sister being able to forge like educational diplomas, so he can show off that he actually has the skills to do these. I'm still only at the beginning.
Details, Phil.
Just credentials.
He gets.
Okay.
Try to think. Okay, Phil. Let's help you out here.
Let's try.
So for a few seconds, try to think about the whole plot of the movie and see if you can say it in one sentence,
or maybe two.
Okay.
Or maybe two. Okay,
right.
Split it into 3 acts.
Yeah.
3 acts of a movie.
Okay.
What's the gist of the first act? What's the gist of the second act? And what's the gist of the third act?
All right. So a down on their luck family slowly invade a rich family's life by counterfeiting and lying their way into them, convincing them
This is going very well, by the way.
that they are specialists. I can't do
It's good. You're amazing.
What
Keep
you
going.
were doing so well.
So serious.
Oh, I thought Jake said this isn't going well.
I said this is going very well, by the way. Keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you said
invaded
by counterfeiting,
by
themselves,
Yes.
Yeah, by pretending that they're specialists and
Okay.
behind
act.
this family's back, they slowly try to take out their original workers that are working for them and replace it with themselves, so they can take advantage of this kind of ignorant, pretty ignorant family that's rich.
Okay.
And after
bring it
doing
back, bring it back.
yeah, and after doing that by selfish and sneaky ways of taking out the other
Just
workers,
imagining a bunch of golems right now for some reason.
they find something out that flips the entire thing on its head. There you go.
Well, it's okay. It's a
the
spoiler
rest.
podcast, so you can say
you
what
can say.
happens. We're not
And they
teasing it.
And they find out that the previous workers that they sneakily kicked out actually were doing a similar thing that they were doing, which is parasiting off of this family by means of having some of their family living in the basement.
Well, it was specifically the maid, right? The maids.
Yes.
Yeah, the maid, but I didn't
one.
specify that at the beginning of my synopsis, so if I said the maid, no one would understand because I'm not connecting it well.
No, it's good. It's good.
And that's how I
fine.
overthink talking about synopsises.
It's true. And
Great
then
work. I think
what
that was
happens at
pretty
the
good.
end?
All hell breaks loose.
True.
Everybody's trying. Everybody's running without a head, and they're trying to cover it up before the family realizes they're being had.
Perfect.
And then it gets worse.
Perfect. All right.
That was good.
That was a good synopsis. You did good, Philip.
Thanks. Yeah. A+. Please vote. Go on our Instagram and vote up how well I did the synopsis.
Oh, we're going to do a poll? Okay.
Okay. Stars.
I'm gonna start making that poll so I don't forget.
By the way, Phil, don't you need to record spoilers for the beginning?
He did.
I did.
He did.
Oh.
He did. He's a good boy.
I was prepared. I was prepared.
For limited ways of Phil. All right, Phil.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
the boss. Continue.
So Parasite.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tim, what did you think?
Oh, I enjoyed it as a movie a lot. I think I really, not knowing anything about the plot lines, it's one of those movies where
I know people always tell you like, I'm not going to tell you the plot because you got to watch it cold.
Yeah, it is kind of like thriller based. It's not a thriller movie, but I think the way it's structured is a thriller because it kind of switches the direction it's going. You're thinking this is going to be one kind of movie and it goes somewhere else. Even like to some extremes, it seems like even genre hopping at point, but it has a very distinct cinematic style and kind of pace style, so it's okay. So it's not that jarring, but it goes through different things and you're just sitting there, you're like, what is this? And it's very done well. I think as a observation of class struggle, it's a great movie, but the ending, and maybe if some people characterize it as a class kind of not just analysis, but there's like a point to it, not just observing, but actually trying to say something. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the ending. I didn't understand, the kind of the switch goes through, like where the violence kicks in after with the dad of the poor family killing the dad of the rich family. I think maybe I would say it's like sort of like what he's trying to say, which usually in his movies there's like a lot of violence and class struggle leads to violence, and that is kind of like the direction it's going, and it just kind of combusts. That there's such a
possibly
like some two forces kind of hitting on each other that it has to erupt in violence. That's maybe what I understood. But as far as that kind of analysis, I don't understand it more. Maybe you guys know more about that. But I definitely enjoyed it a lot as a movie. It was really well done. Like David Fincher kind of style.
David
Fincher. Super. Did I say his name wrong? Who's
no, you said it right.
Okay, good. I was messed up.
Jacob.
Oh, it's my turn. No,
what did you think? What did you think?
I think it was a great film, and what I enjoyed most about the Parasite was, or it's just called Parasite, is that you don't know what kind of film you're getting into, coming into it cold, and after you learn about the premise and the setup, you really do start asking yourself whether this is going to be some kind of a film that is going to go mental. Is it going to go dark? Is it going to go into a horror? Or for the longest time while I'm watching the movie, I thought it might be just a sort of silly comedy, or like a clever comedy, like a commentary on the class struggles, and also it being a comedic, especially with that character of the sort of naive house wife, right?
Oh yeah. She's like the young Charlie. Poor girl.
Yeah, and that kind of sort of that kept me guessing the entire movie, and that's what I enjoyed most about it. And once we get to the crazy town of the stories, when I realized, all bets are off. This explored a lot of different things and a lot of different. I think, didn't you mention, Tim, sort of genres? Kind of,
yeah.
It wasn't super specific, kind of blended into a bit of a soup, which is cool. Which I think makes
that's what I like. I like that a lot. Actually, I like that it was changing. It doesn't have to. It didn't have to be super serious. It didn't have to be super it was pretty intense at certain points, but it also didn't have to. It didn't have to conform to a certain.
Certain style
prerequisite, and I don't understand. And I feel like more people should look at this and say, why do we have to? Why does it have to? Well, I guess
I'll tell you why.
I'll tell you why. You do that well.
Okay, go on.
Sorry. Who? Which one?
No, I just wanted to say you go, Tim. You go, Tim. You have the thing ready.
Oh, okay. No, I just wanted to tie on what Phil was saying. He was asking, you should watch it and think about it. Why should we restrict ourselves to genres? And that kind of begs the question that I don't think that's the right expression that I want to ask you guys, is because this is from Korea, right? From South Korea. And I wanted to ask you, what do you know
Korea.
about... Yeah, exactly. What do you know about South Korean culture? Because for most part, I think what most people are nowadays, what they know about that culture is K-pop, right? The popular music from Korea.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that I've been really interested in and kind of enjoying K-pop for that specific reason. Not on like a overload basis. Like I can maybe handle like 20 or 15 minutes of it because it's really intense, that music. But as far as pop, if I want to listen to pop, much more interesting than Western pop. For that exact same reason, is that genres are not a strict confine as it is in Western culture. And I think it's a byproduct of that. They don't have years of that building up. They just get the genres at the end. So there's no historic.
Oh yeah, just like
Mm-hmm.
you when you went to
Thailand. Exactly, with the economy or whatever it is, or infrastructure. It's just you would get everything ready, so you don't have people who are holding these things dear and heart for like some kind of weird national or cultural or whatever tribal crap it is that they're going to go and criticize. Oh, you can't mix this and that. Like you can't do that. That's lame. So when you listen to K-pop, it's crazy. Like you can just go from any style to any style, and it doesn't matter because it's just flavors to them, you know. And you know what's interesting is that a lot of new pop stars, not pop stars, but like pop singers or something like that, like are adapting that no genre, like post genre kind of method as well. Like if you listen to anything like from Billie Eilish, it's that thing. It's like it's already being. It's funny. It's influencing Western world back. It's like, oh yeah, you can do that. You don't have to be confined. So that's just a point I wanted to make that like came to me as Phil was saying that. So I was going to ask, what do you guys know of Korean culture besides K-pop? Oh, did I just derail you all now?
No. I just wanted to add one more thing before
Korean
we go
food.
K culture
barbecue.
is that you mentioned something at the end where you weren't really sure about the violence and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
My take on that is that towards the end, I think when the revelations appear, I think the movie makes a sharp turn into not anymore really being based so heavily in reality. And I think it takes this more sort of abstracted view of things and kind of heightens everything up, kind of turns it up to 11, where now you have just a lot of intensities of, you know, these emotions and the tense sequences of them sneaking around from the rich people, and it's all just more like playing around with this like concept, I think, at the end.
From which point would you say that it transitions into that? Like what happens in the plot?
I think, wasn't it when we find out that this maid is hiding her husband?
Oh yeah, like
because you know, when she comes into the picture, I think that's when the movie changes drastically. Because up until
she's in the rain, she's like, please let me.
Yes,
because I think
when they're drunk on the. Yeah.
Because at that point you've been watching the film and you felt like, okay, you know, this is unlikely, but this actually could happen in its unlikeliness, and for some time. And as you can see in the movie, and I think this whole setup is that you're waiting for something to happen because of this scenario. Like you're always on edge because you're thinking like, how long, when are they going to get discovered? How are they going to get discovered, right? Are they going to be, someone going to walk in? Is something going to slip? Is someone going to find out? And they're all leading up to that. And especially remember when they have that whole, like the panties in the car and stuff, all those are little clues to keep you on edge, right?
Yeah.
And when that woman comes into the picture,
guns.
the maid, that's when for me, I just started like all the questions started popping up.
No, no. When she started opening the basement doors, and I thought, okay, what's going on here? We're going down.
What was your
the basement.
theory? What was your theory?
What's happening? All right, but so I was thinking when I was watching this, I was like, okay, so first of all, she opens the basement doors, and I thought it was going to be some kind of surrealist thing that's going to happen now out of the blue. You know what I mean? It's just going to be like,
it's like going to change like sci-fi or like
a
portal to
David
another
Lynch sort of thing. Yeah, something. I don't know. But then when we kept going down, and then she was going to reveal something, I thought, oh no, is there going to be like a whole family down here? Is there going to be like 5 other ex, like servants? You know what I mean? Just like there's a whole community down underground or something like that. So and then it's just that one guy, and that one guy was
Parasite Prime.
Was quite a character. Respect.
Love it. And sending little notes to the masters above.
And then he bows down onto the light switches. So whenever the master upstairs, when he's walking up the stairs, he thinks that it's he thinks it's like a light sensor, but it's just him. He's doing the thing. Oh, that's great. And then like he had he has like all these newspaper printouts of the master of the house there.
The master. So Jacob, you studied philosophy, and I'm pretty sure you've come to sort of, you know, these thinkers of Marxism and such other things of social class wars. What's your thought? What's your thought on the message of this movie?
You know, it's interesting because I was watching this movie and then I was watching the other movie.
Oh yeah, we all also watched another movie. Phil, what did you pick for the second movie?
La Chinoise.
Le Chinoise.
La Chinoise.
Le Chinoise.
And you know, I think it's an interesting topic, and I think it's something that, I guess, in some sense, a film like this is trying to get you thinking about how people perceive the world differently based on their economic status. So it's looking at sort of people's perceptions based on a very specific lens, right?
Yes.
And that's kind of the premise of the film. It's not only about that, but I think that's kind of the undertone, right? That's
Dude, I think you're right. I think yeah. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's sort of like the undertone of the premise, and then that's sort of a springboard where then they explore, you know, all the stuff with the themes and with the mood and with the characters and with the craziness and with the not craziness.
Do you think he's critical of, like, do you think he has an agenda in this? Do you think, because he really humanized both the classes?
Personally don't think he did. That's how I perceive the movie. I think that it was just an exploration. I think that that's why I said springboard, because I don't think he was trying to make a statement. And I think it's strange when people talk about this movie. I've heard people talk about it saying like, "Oh, it's about class and stuff." I'm like, well, it's not really about class. The movie isn't about class.
It's about humans. What I was thinking. Yeah. It's really human nature, because he does like in that scene when they're like both of them, you know, you do see the human side of them. It's just the circumstances around them that separates them. I would assume, you know, if they were both, and he's not making it like a communist claim. Okay, if we make them both at the same class, they would see themselves equal. It's just that's the human nature of it, and this is just a circumstance around it.
Yeah, and I think he balanced it out very well. Like, I think, you know, you have these people who are economically in a terrible situation, but that's honestly, I mean, we don't know anything about these characters in that sense. I mean, you can later on the father explains how he made terrible decisions his entire life.
Oh yeah.
And that's good. It balances it out, because, you know, he isn't making statements about like, oh, just because they're this class that they can't, you know, look, that's not their fault. Well, yeah, obviously a big part of it is their fault. Not entirely. And then also the other people, the rich people, it's like, well, I mean, look, the guy is, I don't know what he is, like a surgeon or something. I mean,
I don't know what he does. He just buys techs all the time. I think he's like,
I don't know either.
There's like a scene where he's approving some kind of drone or something. Oh, no, architect?
I think he was something medical, I think.
Who knows?
But anyway, I'm just trying to say that it balanced it out, right? Because, you know, these people, you know, they just, you know, that's the title of the film, right? Parasite. They just completely see an opportunity and they make a horrible, horrible moral judgment call, which is all planned. And they're all like, oh, this is great. And the thing is that the family is so dysfunctional, right? But they all somehow, you know, gather around this plot. And it's a mess. I mean, if you think about it. But then also you have in the rich people, you have these strange tensions of like that girl who's, you know, being tutored. She's the classic sort of, you know, spoiled kid who isn't really, you know, satisfied and all this stuff. And then the wife,
and she's also like pretending as well, like you know, like complying with the mom and everything, but she has a secret life, as opposed to like the poor family who are so super close and super like honest with each other. You know, it's interesting.
Yeah. So I don't think so. I really don't think. What do you guys think? I mean, Phil, you said
I agree.
Well, the thing is that what you think about the class thing is, I've been preoccupied with voting over the weekend.
That's right. Yeah.
Which made me think of it. It was we had the parliament votes in. You know, pick your parties, pick your representatives.
Yeah, your people in your parliament votes
in my country.
And smokes.
And the party that I voted for didn't get in. They were missing 0.03% to get in, which was a shame because I think they would have. Because they would represent, they would represent, representation of 200,000 people is missing,
Yeah.
And I was a little bit sad about it because I think they were really leading kind of young person's progressive way of thoughts, while the ones that won are more like in the middle, they're not super traditionalist and everything. But the main thing was getting rid of our corrupted mafia-driven government that we have now, and the main party that's there, which was done. It wasn't by a landslide. I think maybe like a couple of seats in the House. But I was like, first I was a little bit sad about it because as being in the middle class and things like schools and kind of things and in education and saving the environment and urbanizations and buildings making sense and these kind of like things is what concerns me, while I realize because living in the capital, financially being stable, the rest of the country doesn't deal with that, so them voting for that doesn't really make sense right now. They need just money, like any of these parties who starts putting bald claims. I was looking at one of the parties that won, and it's just the same. People who are America, you need to understand that in these post-communist countries, like the left, the Socialist Party usually is the corrupt one, and they do these outrageous claims of just giving out money to people just to get people to vote before the voting,
like the Joker in Batman.
Exactly.
89.
I was looking at their program, and it's just like every point in the bulletin is like there's an amount written. It's like, for every student we give 100 euros every year. We give this 20 euros. We give. It's like
wow.
It was every single point was something like you can rent a car from the government for 100 euros. You can rent an apartment from the government 200 euros. Like all these like specific, we're just like, and you look at it, it's like that's not financially stable. You can't do that, but it's obviously catered to people who don't have the money.
Well, also usually promising, I think, but maybe this is on both sides. Always promising like projects, like the bridge will be completed.
Yeah.
Or like we'll make a new renovation, like we'll fix this and we'll renovate this, and it's like that right before the election. Then once they get elected, it's like no one speaks of it again.
But it's funny. Speaking of the second movie that Phil you spoke, and
I'm not there yet.
No, I'm saying you because Jake mentioned it. Is that because it's all about conversation of class, and it's something that I didn't have a conversation about class. You talk about politics, you talk about economy with people. But I don't think I've had a class-oriented talk in years, and it's just so funny that I think communism just completely ruined that. Like completely, just any analysis of that is just like gone. Like don't talk about classes.
You don't talk about it. We're all just
don't
now.
Like we can't do that. Stalin completely ruined whatever Marx said ideas. That's gone. We're not touching that. Done.
Why?
Social. I think that's just my observation. I don't think I've never talked about like the class, like the revolutions and all that stuff that happened. Last couple that's.
I remember.
No, I'm just saying like it's the same conversation but from a different point of view.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Because like you want to equalize the classes, so because some people are not rich and so some people are poor, right? You want to equalize it, but what we learned with communism is that you can't do it by force. Something will give. People aren't. It's just not going to work. If everyone 100% believed in it would do it, then maybe it could work, but you can't do that with like a tyrant. That's just
right.
Something's gonna give.
So in the movie, there's this wonderful part where that little kid gets scared by the guy in the basement.
The little kid gets scared by the guy in the basement.
Oh yeah. The guy who's doing lights in the basement. You mean?
Yeah.
Wait.
And he gets a little heart attack. No, he gets a what do you call that? Like a seizure. Yeah. Remember that?
Oh, yeah. Because he like
flashback.
Because he's seen the faces, right? That was the thing.
Yeah.
And he was drawing the faces, wasn't it, or something like that?
I think so.
Wasn't it like she was saying like because the daughter was supposed to be his tutor, like art therapy or something like that.
Yeah. By the way, I know I'm going all over the place, but what I love about how this movie was shot was it has this really nice, spacious. Have you guys watched anything else from Korea? Like any kind of like movies or TV shows or something?
That's what I was asking you guys, because I can't remember specifically. I would have to maybe Google it and see. I saw The Train to Busan.
Oh, what's that?
Okay, go on.
It's a zombie movie.
Oh. No. Oh, right. Oh, I've heard of this. Yes.
I saw that.
I heard of that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I saw Old Boy.
I should see Old Boy.
Let me think. I don't know. Snowpiercer. Yeah, right.
We're back to Snowpiercer.
Well, I happen to have watched a whole. I mean, this is a K-drama, so I don't think this counts at all. But like,
what's K-drama? Is it like a TV show, like some soap opera?
Yeah, you got some dramas. People love the K-dramas because apparently they're super quirky and fun and stuff like that. So I watched like a whole series. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like a really lighthearted, romantic kind of K-drama comedy series about a boy band, right?
Okay.
And they're one of their members is sick or something, or went abroad. This is 2012, so I don't remember a lot. And then a nun girl.
Okay. Wait.
Shows
nun?
up. Yes, she shows up. She is somehow recruited to be the next character, like the next boy band member, and she has to pretend she's a boy.
Oh, this is great.
And then all the hijinks ensues.
A lot of pretending in this.
Lots of feelings going on in that, and I watched the whole show with a friend of mine. Her name's Beth, and we watched that together. That was very funny. So that's all I can say about watching anything that's particularly Korean.
I had a friend who from England, and she was a teacher in Korea. And I asked her like, "Hey, what's Korean, like South Korean culture like?" And she said one thing they'll remember forever. And I don't know if this is true. She's like, "Oh, they're all just crazy. They're all mad that Japanese stole all their culture. Like all the animes and everything. That's all Korean apparently." That's what she said. I don't know. Okay. Anyone Korean in the listening? Please tell me. Are you mad at the Japanese for stealing culture?
I'd be mad at the Japanese for this. Killing
for other things,
yeah.
I've been listening to the new Hardcore History podcast. That's about Japanese involvement in World War II. It's not nice to their neighbors. No, they're not.
No, especially not if you watched Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, 1990, the 1990 film, and there's a World War II flashback, and I don't think it's very accurate.
Wow. Perfect.
Yeah, but what I wanted to say with watching that K-drama is like you kind of have a feeling of how people film things, you know? And I don't know where I'm going with this. So I'm just going to say that Bong Joon-ho shot this very well.
You say you like how it looks, and I read an interesting fact that somebody said, "Oh, I recreated the house from Parasite in like 3D." And the first comment was like, "It's impossible." The director said that house was designed that is not actually realistic possibility to exist.
I was gonna get to that. I thought when I was watching the movie, I thought, man, this
like it's all the sets are made, but it's not, you can't make it like an actual house.
Purposes, yeah. So, but that's interesting. You've mentioned that because that's one of the things that I was gonna get into, and I just wanted to mention that. When I was watching the movie, I thought, okay, so now this house is going to be pretty famous. People are going to want to go and see it.
It's a nice house,
right? People are going to want to see the house.
I love that courtyard.
I'm totally used to movies in films that I like actually having real locations, right? And like for
Star
example,
Wars, Phantom Menace.
Well, yeah, no, Phantom Menace. You're right. There's the castle in Italy that they shot most. Oh
yeah. Sand conversation.
Yes, that's also in Italy. But what they did was, like in Back to the Future, all the places in Back to the Future are real. Like Marty's house is real and all that kind of stuff. But this one was actually created. Even the family's underground apartment thing in the slums, the whole street was made up. That was
thinking
all built.
about it in hindsight. That apartment they had, this was impossible. It was crazy. What's going on? What's with the toilet? With the toilet. Remember
The
when they
toilet,
get
man.
flooded and she's sitting on the toilet having a smoke?
Well, I think that was like
For plumbing.
all
reasons?
is lost moment.
No, I mean like the. Never mind. Continue, Philip. Continue.
So what I really liked, technically speaking, was just how they actually built everything. And that's something that you don't really think about for low budget movies like that.
What do you mean low
'Cause you
budget?
usually
How
think-
low budget was it?
11 million.
Oh yeah, but come on, think about 11 million. Okay, yes, obviously you got to pay for stuff, but like you can build a house for what 100,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. But then why are there so many movies that just pick an actual location instead of? But never mind. It's all
Because
specific,
so
I
much
guess.
easier. You know what I mean? Like it's you got. Yeah, I guess so. And also time wise, like you have to build.
Never
the
mind.
thing
I just
then-
liked it. I just liked the idea anyway.
That's pretty cool. And also, it's very specific. I think you can play with it, that house, because it really was a character of that whole story.
True.
Yeah.
That is undeniable.
The ending with the light Morse code.
Yep. So okay, so the ending, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people are like, "Oh, it's like a fake ending."
What? Oh,
Did you get that
yeah.
message?
So I think the ending, if I understood, yeah, it is a fake ending.
Okay, so explain to me. I just thought it was like
no, like
he
what's
gets
the
the
fake
house.
part about it?
that it's not real.
So
That's not real.
Yes.
No.
So I think how I understood it was that
Ovo nije istina.
when they,
Dečki, nije istina. Ajde, bježite.
so when
Ovaj
everything-
film nije istina. To su laži.
nije istina. So when everything happens, right, when it's finished,
Yeah.
and the dad escapes, right, and you're like, where did he go, right? Where did the dad go in all this? The mother and the son survive.
Oh yeah, the daughter dies. All right.
Daughter dies, and
That sucked so bad.
the son
Phil
wakes
is in
up
love with the daughter. No.
the son wakes up, and they're in the hospital.
And the
so
son almost died. I thought he
Yeah.
died, and I was like, man.
I thought he died
That
when he got hit
sucks.
with a rock. I was like, he's dead.
You can take the daughter, but not the son.
And
The whole
and then what
China will.
happened was that he
All of China will know.
the son then it's presented that he goes to visit the house, right?
Yes.
And he can see the
Like a couple of
he
years
can see
later
the
when
blinkies
he's-
right from the light, which
Yes.
is actually the father now turns out is in the basement
Yeah, he
where
sneaked
the
into
other
the basement.
husband used to live, and so he snuck in the basement, and now he's living there, and not instead of going to face the consequences, right, and
Yes.
be arrested and so on. He just stays there, and then he's like sending Morse code messages in hopes that someone from the family will see them and write them down.
Yeah.
And so the son kind of keeps going there over, like you said, Phil, after years and years, and in the snow, in the summer, he's looking at the little blinkies and he's writing them
Yes.
down, and he learns Morse code. And then he's getting all these nice messages from his father. And then I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think then the son starts typing his own Morse code
I just
messages.
remember he buys the place in the end.
Well, no, because I think he said, like, it's in the narration, he's saying, like, Father, he's like, I will now promise to be super successful, and I will be as rich as those people. And when the time comes, I will buy the house and we'll be back together. And then they show
Yes.
this montage of what looks like just a few years later of him being this young, successful businessman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dressed really hip and business stylish, going with his mother and buying the house, like looking through with
Yes.
the realtor, the home. He's like, we'll take it, we'll buy it. And the realtor's like, this place, it's not really doing well because of the murder.
He's like,
And he's
I know,
like,
I was
no
here.
problem.
I
No
did
problem.
the murder.
I got my head bashed by a rock in this house.
Yeah.
And then they're shown like the reveal of his father coming out of the basement,
Yes.
right? And they're reunited.
And I thought, oh, that's the ending. Huh?
And then it cuts back to the old dump where the kid is sitting on his bed reading
Oh,
Morse code messages.
I totally must have missed that. That's why I probably
So his
confused.
father, it turns out,
That's where you missed it.
Probably looked down to check time, and I missed the scene.
So his dad's in the basement, but he didn't, become successful and buy the house.
Oh, so just daydreaming and not doing the action.
Yeah.
So that's what it is? Huh.
I believe so.
Well, I don't know.
Those are my beliefs.
I think.
Pepple listening. What do you
Pepple.
think of the ending of Parasite?
Tell us.
Parasita.
All right. Anything else you want to say about Parasite? I don't know. Like,
Do you think it's
I like
deserving
the- I like the hot sauce.
praise? The praise? Oh, the hot sauce. That was perfect. That's all like the comedy scenes. I just love it.
But the hot sauce.
remember where they're trying to make up this lie that the old maid is alert. No, she
has some kind of
like a terminal coronavirus sickness.
Yeah, that was good.
And and then
honestly,
at the end where she,
was,
because she's actually really allergic to the peach hair, and they keep subliminally trying to get her to keep sneezing and coughing, and to say that she has a really terminal contagious illness, and that one time where the mom is in the house and she's almost convinced the dad from the poor family's there, who's now a chauffeur for them. He's trying to, and he like puts in the slam dunk, as it were, and performs this incredible feat of taking the hot sauce, which is blood red, and when the old maid coughs and then throws it in the trash, he quickly goes to the trash and then he opens the sauce without her seeing it, and then he puts it onto the used tissue that she used, and then he lifts it up and shows her, there's blood.
That's right.
That's a classic movie thing to show that your main character is going to die. Just like, the bloody handkerchief. That's such a trope. It's hilarious.
But I think the movie was surprisingly funny.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what's surprising to me? The director said that he was surprised that it was so accepted by the wide audience that he made it very specific to Korean culture, and he would only expect that to be, and that kind of proves the point. A lot of people don't want to watch foreign movies because like, I don't understand the culture. I don't understand. I mean, besides lazy, I still don't want to read the subtitles. Right. I have no mercy for them. But I understand people who are like, well, I'm not going to get it. I'm probably going to, misunderstand it. But I think, honestly, this just proves it. We all have the same experiences, and the culture is just a nuance, and you'll most likely be able to comprehend it at some level or another. Maybe we miss some references, but or some minor details, but I think still people love it.
Yeah. And with that said, once that movie, like I watched it before it got really popular, but after the Oscars, you know what? In Zagreb here in Croatia, boom, it's in theaters now. And I don't know if you saw the picture I took, Tim. On the weekend.
When you went to see, what was it, Little Women or something?
Little Women, when we were watching our previous movie. Parasite was playing, and there's like so many people packed. They're all watching the movie.
I really wonder what they think of that. Like, just like because when the really super
then again,
wide
Tim,
audience,
I don't know if you know this. This is interesting. In Croatia, right now, we just apparently like Zagreb, and I'm sure other places in Croatia, we just keep getting a lot of Korean visitors.
Oh, like
specifically Korean visitors. Yeah,
like tourists coming to see
like,
the city, right?
Yeah, and we have like 3 or 4 Korean grocery stores and restaurants now.
Good. Go get some. Oh no, that's Vietnamese. Never mind.
No, you guys have the Vietnamese stuff. By the way, that's interesting. We noticed in Slovakia there's a lot of that. Yeah. So we got Koreans. We got all the Korean foods over here. So,
dude, I love South Asian, East Asian food. It's so delicious.
I wish I had some right now.
Thai. So good. So good.
So good.
I think my water.
Well, with that said,
yeah. What's up?
Yes. So you said, is it worthy of the praise? Yeah.
All right. Well, with that said, it's interesting that.
What?
Just ignored you.
Sure, I don't know. But the only thing did you see that one video that went viral with that one guy complaining about how Parasite won Best Picture? Did you ever see that?
Oh no, I did not. What was it about? What was he angry about?
Hello?
Yes,
We're
I'm
listening,
here.
man.
No.
Oh,
You're
we
super
lost
late.
Phil.
Phil, you're like 30 seconds late in everything we say.
Okay.
Great.
Just Johnny?
That's good. I like that. It like fizzles out into this weird conversation.
It's just a non-connected conversation.
I'm gonna stop recording right now.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Me
going
too.
to stop too.
Here's a piano, kick drum and shaker and such. Here is some singing, this is me holding my nuts. Though I may sound like a boy who's trapped down a well, I'll sing it over and over so no one can tell. I'm sure that you'll be alright. I swear not to keep you all night. There was some whistling, here is more thinking about. There is no meaning, this is just thinking out loud. Give you an earful, keep you a while if I can. I can be cheerful, don't always smile when I am. Really, I don't mean to frown. I know that I must look down, walking through town. Walking through.
All right. Well, thank you. This is a great song. I think this is a really nice song by
I really enjoyed that song.
Bobbles Clifton, whom interesting story about this one. He actually emailed me because I mean he's a fan of listening to the Lord of the Rings audiobooks, and then he said, "Hey, listen, if you got any music, I do all kinds of different genres, different things. I put them on Bandcamp or whatever, and if you'd like to
It's a genre
check
hopper.
them out." And I definitely did, and this is a wonderful song, and I was very happy to put that on. So thanks.
It's a great song. Thank you so much.
He's from England, so that's
Cool
also
song,
great.
Bobbles.
Yes, very cool song.
Pretty chill
I dug
vibes.
It, dug it. It's Bobbles Clifton, track Walking Through Town.
That's right.
Nice.
Thanks so much, dude.
Walking down the street.
And with that, we have our next movie. Or do you want to talk about something else? I mean, you know.
What sentence you question yourself immediately?
Well, okay, so this is me proving once again that I am probably the number 3 best host of this podcast.
Third best
I'm pretty
host.
bad.
The third
I'm pretty
best.
bad
I'm the
there.
third best
We're all
host.
pretty bad, actually, to be honest.
And I picked a movie. Okay, guys, so
Okay. Tell us the explanation. How did you get to this?
I
How did you get to this movie?
how did I get to this movie? Well, you know, I was a huge fan of French New Wave cinema, and I was watching
Yes.
it very religiously throughout
As
my
you were
youth.
every morning.
As I do every morning. It gets me going. And in this case, I remembered the works of Jean-Luc Godard, and I thought to myself, you know, of all the statements that he made throughout his life, what is the most prevalent to our society, especially concerning the the companion film that I used, which was Parasite. Actually, I just went to Google and I wrote class struggle movie. And
I was about to ask you, just Google this. And you're like, here, boys.
I thought,
Well,
okay, this
any prior
1967, Jean-Luc Godard, I heard his name
can
before.
you just tell me, please, the director? Is this someone famous? Should I
Yeah,
know
because
who
like
he
I
is?
remember that name, Jean-Luc Godard.
Okay, you remember, but I don't remember it. Who is he?
He's one of
Tell
the
us.
prominent film directors from the French New Wave cinema, which came out after, like in the 1960s.
After the old wave.
Yeah.
After
And this
the
was like
Lumiere
it's like
and
it's like a
such
counterculture of film where they experimented and just went to be loose and tried doing all kinds of like strange, weird things that might not have worked sometimes, but they're supposed to be art, auteur. It was the my work, and it's just like one person's vision of something,
Right.
self-expression through cinema.
self-expression through cinema, le cinéma.
Okay.
And
Cinema.
this was a primary force in France after World War II, and then
Gotcha.
that kind of thing. And
Wonderful.
and I thought, I've never seen any of those films, so why not start with La Chinoise, which is the one that I got, and I probably mispronounced that because I'm not French.
So what was your guys' experience watching this film? Because I can tell you mine.
All right, so this film.
You start.
Okay, let me just give you a
sorry.
preface
Oh,
here.
yeah, to tell us the
This
plot
movie,
of this movie.
Well, let's bring it down again. So
This movie came
take
out in
it away.
1967. And as I said, it was part of that new wave kind of movement. So this, I knew at least like that it wasn't going to be something traditional. It's not going to be something that you could latch your, it's
It's not going to be retelling of the French Revolution.
No,
as well.
no.
right.
So I knew that, but I didn't know exactly what that meant. And that's where me watching this movie comes into play, because this movie is about
Go
listening.
on.
this movie is about a bunch of young people sitting around in a apartment talking about the injustices of the system and learning from Chairman Mao, the communist leader of China, through I think there was at some point it was like through the radio or something, and they're discussing class and ideas and idealisms, and then eventually trying to assassinate a politician.
Okay, we should
that's
maybe do
actually-
a round table of everyone try to.
Oh,
tell
yeah,
the
that's
plot.
good.
Jacob, you try.
Okay,
Try to-
I think this is how I do the plot. So the plot centers around a group of young, most likely students in France, I think Paris, who are infatuated by the Maoist communist movement, as opposed to the Russian communist movements and other branches of communism. They're really liking this Maoist one because I think that they believe it's a pure communist ideology from the original sort of initial revolutions, right? Bolshevik and those, when the Marxist theories kind of got adapted and turned into political revolution. I think that's why they're into that very much. And basically what they do is they just are together discussing these communist ideas that they're into, and it's kind of like interviewing all these students. And as the sort of plot goes forward, there seems to be like some exploration, I guess, between like some interpersonal relationships between these characters, and some. I think what I found strange is that some characters like disagree with other characters. Some of them don't even seem like they're even into this ideology. They just happen to be there. They're kind of like all, have their heads up their butts throughout the whole film. And then I totally lost it. Then the last half an hour, I've no clue what happened.
Well, here's
No
the thing.
idea.
All right, Tim.
In the end, I think, and I may be wrong, but this is how I understand the framing of the story. And it comes from the conversation of the brown hair, the brunette, not the black hair one, but the lighter hair one. The conversation she has with the professor on the train. And as far as I understand
you guys have to help me because that's where I completely lost. I have no clue.
Okay,
and I was it's hard to pay attention.
I think what happens is these are a bunch of students who are studying philosophy and they're studying Marxism, and they're taking it to extreme to understand it. That they rent this apartment and completely encapsulate it. Because she talks to the professor and she's like, I want to understand it by experiencing it. I don't want to just learn the theory. So they're reading the red book, the manifesto. They're completely consuming their whole days of trying to understand it. They go through problems and everything to the point where they want to practice it, that they're going to do a terroristic act just to know what it feels to start a revolution because they need to understand it. Because she and then in the end there's like the narration. Okay, after the summer I just went back to school, kind of thing. And there's like Pishta there, who's like the main dude.
Pishta.
And then there's like the two girls. There's a guy who shot himself. Well, he looks like Pishta, so I don't know how to describe it. So that's what I thought the framing was. And
that's interesting. That's actually.
And I think they're like learning like Marx and Lenin, like the origin of like socialism and communism.
So you think it's like an experiment for these students?
Yeah. I think like that's what I thought, because there's actual shots of them being filmed on camera.
Right.
I'm not sure how that relates.
That's interesting that you noticed that. That could be very plausible. I think maybe it would make more sense, because the way I saw it was that I was at first confused when the movie started. I thought, is this an actual documentary about these people? But then I quickly realized, no, this is very acted out and structured. This has to be.
So the official synopsis on IMDb: a small group of French students are studying Mao, trying to find out their position in the world and how they change the world to a Maoistic community using terrorism. So it couldn't be. So it might not be just like an experiment. It might be they actually want to understand it.
Yeah, because when I was watching it, I felt like these are like students who are very much like convinced, like they read something, like you said, students of philosophy, they're reading this and then they realize like, oh man, like this is the way forward, this is the correct ideology, makes so much sense, and it's all about class, and let's get into it. And then it's the very strange paradox of like these students in a non-communist society, being communist, and then supporting these ideas, and at the end of the day, they're really not doing anything, right? They're just in the they're really
messing around in this apartment,
talking and pretending. And I think maybe some commentary on that, how the juxtaposition. I really don't know, to be honest with you.
My favorite part was where they were using all the red books to create a wall, and then you have those little sketches with Vietnam. And for me, like the number one best thing about this was when she took the little radio and turned it into a gun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well that got experimental.
Surrealistic, yeah. It's like Jarodowski style movies.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you guys. I struggled.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I struggled too.
Interesting. I thought you would study a stuff of such things on the philosophy.
I did.
Yeah, you were a big believer in Mao.
Yeah, you're a Maoist, Jacob the Mao man.
I struggled because
Just kidding.
So the first like 10-15 minutes, it's hard to get into, but then I was like, you know what? I gotta do this for the podcast.
and I was like, look up.
And I watched it. I didn't do anything else, like minimal distractions. And I watched the next hour. I think completely. So it's good. 15 plus hour. That means maybe less than an hour.
Guys, this is gonna sound really funny, but I picked this because of the runtime as well.
That's good. I'm glad you did, because it was a much easier watch.
I'm the best.
That was my first comment.
I told you, I'm the third best host.
It's good. It's good. And so then when it got to that last, when she got on the train to talk to that guy, I just don't know. I was
done? You were done?
I love
that
of
conversation.
These kids. Well, that's why I want you guys to help me. And I figured, I don't have the mental energy anymore to figure out what's happening. So I was like, I'm going to let the boys tell me what happens in the last half an hour. So please explain to me what happened.
They're discussing about is like the extremities of going into,
So what happened is, so I got to the end where this one member of the club decides to kill himself. I don't know why.
He shot someone, didn't he?
Okay.
Like he had a paper where he's like, I killed the prime minister of whatever, something.
Did he? But did he?
No. Brent. Did anyone kill anyone? Because we never see anyone dead.
No. So he killed himself, right? Now, I thought at the end when he's painting the walls in rainbow colors.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, this is cool.
Skittles.
It's this movie showing how ridiculous, this whole thing they're doing is, and he's like, he figured it out. It's like, forget the red, the militaristic,
all the colors,
this regime, and you grow all the colors, And so he died, and then what? What happens after that?
And then they go into a terrorist act. I think Pishta, I don't think Pishta, he's just an actor, and he just, when he freaks out on the stage and starts climbing the theater, he's like pissed off.
He's sick of this.
The blonde man, he's like, I don't like them.
He's sick of working in a theater.
Yeah, because he's an actor. Remember the beginning of the interview, he says he's an actor. That's just like what he's studying, or his profession. And then he sells cabbages in the end. But the thing is that, and then the blonde man, he's like, I'm done. They're too extreme. I'm not gonna do no terrorist act. So he leaves them, and he always eats soup with bread or whatever he eats.
Man, that annoyed me so much, honestly. Like, I don't know what it was, but him just scraping that bread, I was just, get out of here with your French crap.
I think he cuts the baguette 3 times, and then he puts butter and jam on it, but then he has some kind of liquid in the bowl. I don't know what he was eating.
It was like cereal or oatmeal, but in France, I don't know if that would be the case.
Yeah.
And I was thinking,
milk?
I was watching him, and to be honest with you, with that scene, I wasn't listening to any of the dialogue and what they're saying. I was just thinking to myself, he's slicing the bread, and I'm watching the bread, and I'm thinking, like, he's putting butter, and like, is he gonna go for the jam? Is he gonna go for the jam? And he didn't go for the jam when I watched him. He just ate it with his soup / cereal.
Stop! I'm laughing too much.
That was good. That was a good guy. Then I'm not sure what happens. I'm not sure what happens with the lady. The one
she goes into the building. She was going to assassinate the Minister of Culture.
There's 2 ladies. There's 2 ladies.
Minister of Culture.
There's the redhead, and then there's the sad-looking.
Yeah, the one that has like the interview, like her background.
The one who looks sad. Yes,
she's from like from the country, and then she was a prostitute.
Right.
And then she's the maid of that place because she keeps cleaning and cooking. I'm not sure, but she doesn't do anything. I don't remember what's the end of her story. But the redhead,
she did some pretty cool
the little stories.
Pieces.
Yes. Yeah. When she's like, "Oh, perfect, help me." But
honestly, go ahead.
No, I think the redhead with her new friend, which we'd never seen before, in a car goes to shoot some dude, and then
the Minister of Culture.
And she's like, Minister of Culture. Instead of 23, I went to the room number. No, instead of the room 32.
Wrong one. Yeah.
So she goes back and kills the proper person.
So she kills, but before.
Well, we never saw them.
It's
all off screen
on the train.
No.
My first questions are okay. What? No.
Go on.
Go back to the train. Yeah, go back to the train.
Back to the train.
Who is she talking to, and why are they talking about the university forever?
She is talking to her professor who's teaching at her university because she says, when me and my friend did like a summer job picking pears, before your exam, I did the exam better because I had physical. Like she's doing the whole socialist,
like labor.
Yeah, labor thing.
Yeah.
She's talking. So that gives us a point of reference that he's leaving university and she studied there and she's talking to him for some reason. I don't know why she's leaving on the train with him. And then she talks to him about her plan and her little group. And he's like, "You don't have a plan. You're bonkers." With the whole idea. He's like, because I think he was a revolutionary. And he's just saying, like, in my Algerian revolution, he's like, in my experience, like, you have to understand what comes afterwards. You can't just be a revolutionary. She's like, no, I just did the revolution. I just do the terrorist thing. And then we kind of look at the situation. It's like, no, you got to have a plan. You have to have people to support you. There's only 3 of you. That was a really interesting conversation because it was, you had madness like that was isolated in this apartment for like an hour. And then that madness confronts someone who's seems like a reasonable person.
I figured that out.
Experience.
But I just wanted to hear from you guys the details because I didn't pay attention to the last part.
Right. But this is also based on a book by Dostoevsky. Yeah. Strange. Loosely. Very loosely. It's not at all the book, but yeah, there we go.
I mean, it's like there's surreal bits in it, like but there's also, I think the surrealist one is when Pishta goes down into the
Yes, I was going to talk about
the showers.
that. Yes,
and the
with the
one's
the
an
glass
old-
boxes, and then the old ladies tapping on the
yeah.
glass box, and the naked ladies
there's like-
tapping on the glass box.
Well, she's not naked. She's fully dressed, and then lights keep
Wait,
coming up, and
I
she goes
zoned
naked.
out of that part.
Oh wow!
Towards the end.
Yeah,
Yeah, towards the end. Yeah,
Okay.
and then he's selling cabbages
yeah.
Huh.
for 10
No, I
cents
missed that one.
each. I guess it's like some kind of because he's like selling vegetables, and he
You
says
know
they
what?
all have the same price.
It's
I think it's supposed to be the
too busy
metaphor.
Eating my pizza.
Ah, the pizza was too important. Your capitalist
Maybe,
ways.
maybe.
of
Well, the
eating
pizza was really
delivered
good.
pizza.
Well, I have
Was
some
it like
great.
homemade or
Spicy
delivered?
salami.
Jacob, don't be part of the system.
Yeah,
yeah.
You capital
just
scum.
Capital.
Well, I was gonna say that I have some reviews from Letterboxd here
Okay,
that
tell
might
us.
be
What
fun.
do people say?
Okay.
So
what did they
this
say?
guy says, "I'm too simple for this film. I don't know if I didn't understand what was going on because I'm stupid or I'm not a Frenchman from the
Or
60s.
eating pizza.
I would share my thoughts on this film, but my only thoughts at, hey, what was up with that scene with the increasingly naked ladies knocking on glass boxes?
I have to see
Maybe one day I will enjoy movies that have zero plot and just an amalgamation of scenes where characters present and debate ideological concepts, but today is not that day. The Mao Mao song slaps 3 stars just for that.
Mao Mao song.
Oh, the Mama song was pretty good song.
And then,
It is
and
a
then-
And it
Good
just
song.
comes back for a second at one point, which scared the hell out of me.
yeah, right? And then it stops. And then someone else writes, this is Tim Kopp from Letterboxd, who says, Batman and Captain America, sick of all these superhero cash-ins.
Yeah, they were there. Both of
And
them.
then this review by Elisa Barbin gives it no stars, but the Mao song absolutely rips.
Great. So what do you think of people who are like complaining that plot is weak or there's no plot
I mean,
in a
look,
movie?
the-
Like,
the
what's
thing
the
is that
point of
this-
a movie if there's no plot?
This kind of film, I think, isn't really so much about the plot. Like, I think
No,
I
you can tell it's
understand-
not. And you know what I like the most? Like one of the cool parts about this movie was where they're interviewing the people, and then it goes to the cameraman, and you see the camera.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
cool. You know, this reminded me a lot of the Beatles movie we watched. Remember?
Oh yeah,
What was it called?
Oh yeah, the
it's been a hard day's night. No, that's the other one.
was
the
it
other
Yellow
one.
Submarine? No.
No. Wait, I gotta
help!
pull up the sheet.
Help!
Help! Exclamation
Help,
point.
exactly.
Don't
Yes.
need nobody.
It's similar. It's similar vein. I wish, you know, I don't know film history terms, but I think it was sort of this, I guess maybe like avant-garde in a sense where it's more about capturing the surrealism of these moments and scenes.
It's breaking the mold
Capturing
of the
some-
cinema.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
entire idea of these.
Capturing
movies.
Like
some
try
feeling.
something new. Like
Yeah.
use the medium. Like don't just be limited to this narrative and break the
Right.
fourth wall. Break all the walls.
And
you
these
know?
characters, I think also, I guess it's supposed to be that they are exhibiting behaviors that are, you can't like quite put your finger on what's going on.
Mhm.
Because I remember that one scene where the redheaded girl, like the redheaded girl, as we call him, Pishta, the guy with the nice slick hair, with the nice
yelling
shirts.
at people.
Yeah. So they're both sitting at the table smoking and reading, right?
Mhm.
And then she's like, I don't love you anymore.
Well, first he asks that he doesn't understand what it means to fight on two fronts.
Oh, okay.
And then she says, I don't love you anymore.
She's like, do you love me? He's like, of course. And she's like, I don't love you anymore.
Cool.
And he's like, what? And she's like, I don't love you anymore. She's like, I don't like your face.
Well, first on,
Oh,
she
like
puts
this.
on a different song on the
Yeah, it's
LP.
not the Mao Mao song.
She switches to a dramatic piano. Then he tells him she doesn't love him. She stops the thing, the music, and she's like you will understand it. You don't now. And he's like, I don't like it. I'm sad, but I do understand it.
Can you guys, what do you guys think about that scene?
Well, it was cool. And then she goes like, well, I just tried to explain to you that, you're confronted at two fronts. The music helped with that. You're sad, but you understand it. And he's like, oh, okay. You got me worried there for a second. So she still loves him.
See, I thought so. I was
Yeah.
wondering about that.
You see?
Because
Follow
later
your
on they're-
instincts.
Yeah.
And the
'Cause then later
funniest
on
thing,
they're good again, right? Yeah.
and the things that I notice
Oh,
are
that turned on Siri. Siri, and she's like, it says, hi, Siri, insects. And now she's telling me about insects.
well, And the funny things that I noticed was that one of the girls, when they're washing the dishes, she's like, "Oh, we were gonna go watch 8.5," and I was like, "Wow, cool! It's a 8.5." Federico Fellini.
Fellini, pop reference. But I think that was like the the 60s. Everyone was breaking molds and everything. Politics and mediums, and paintings and music as well. The avant-garde movement, Frank Zappa and all the dudes. Just like have fun with it. Don't stop with this.
Zappa. There we go. Look at this perfect connection. It's like there's no genre. You don't have to be constrained by genre with Parasite. You don't have to be constrained by anything with French New Wave.
We're back at it again.
Nice.
We're back at it again.
See,
nice.
I am the third best host.
You are truly Felipe.
That's right.
Felipe Dragaschini. So Felipe Dragaschini. What do you think? What's the connect? If you compare these two together, movies, is there a common thread here besides obviously the
thing that I Googled so I could get the right theme together? Yes.
Besides
class struggle.
And besides genre breaking.
You're leaving me so little options.
Well, I'm just mentioning the things we mentioned before. I would like to say that
nice colors.
Watching the second movie, what is it called? La Chinchilla. La Chinchilla is that this was done from a pure technical, theoretical approach to the whole class war, while the other one was purely humane and purely emotional.
Also entertainment.
They're both analyzing the whole thing, but it's they're both entertaining as well. That's definitely what you're saying.
Well, I mean, that's
one's humanizing and one's parodying
thing.
the analysis of that. Parodying the whole whatever social Marxism and whatever it is. That's my take. I don't know. It's kind of half-baked taken that I've taken out of the oven. I'll put it back in there. Just a couple more minutes.
My half-baked question is, is the movie like this one, the second movie, is it just sort of a exploration, or do you think, like we mentioned, remember in the first film, you said was there some agenda behind the storytelling? Was there something behind La Chinoise? Or was it simply just, here's some things that the filmmakers decide to explore? What do you guys think?
The bomb of Hiroshima is falling down.
Food for thought.
I don't think it was analytical because it wasn't given us. I think to be analytical, you would have to kind of give the first movie
you have to be pretty anal.
Example. Exactly, super anal. And while this was parodying in a way, I would assume, because it's a caricature of whatever those things mean. So I would assume it is a character. It's kind of showing the silliness of such things as those. I would assume the kind of crazy. What is that word? Fanaticism,
right?
Over something that's like a political idea or whatever, social. Class economical idea. I don't know.
Sense.
That's what I got.
That makes sense.
I liked his glasses with all the countries. Those are cool.
Yes, little pinhole glasses.
That makes sense. I think that seems pretty fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, if anyone in the audience watched, I think, and you may be a art student, a movie student, you might have you're better equipped to analyze such movies than the plebs and the village men that we are, that we come with
village people.
We come with pitchforks and we're like, what movie this? What is
why?
When the revolution comes, we'll definitely be like the students.
Let's try revolution. Let's try terrorism for a day.
All right. Well, this has been a TWOFOLD podcast.
Action.
Next time, Tim. Wait, is it? No, it's Jacob. It's Jacob's turn next time.
No, it's
Tim.
What? What? Wait a second. That's right. Little Women was last time. I forgot.
It is my time.
I'm just so happy
I promise
I'm done.
I will bring a new movie. No more of this rehash of 2019. It is 2020 now.
You will bring us the fresh meats.
I will go down to the market and buy from Pishta the fresh cabbage for 10 cents. Equal price for every vegetable.
So do you have
Very
a
good.
movie in your head? Or you still...
No, I have no idea what's playing.
Okay.
All right.
I
Well,
must
everybody,
look at Cinema Site.
just
But, guys,
if you listen,
be on
thank
the
you very
lookout
much.
for a twofold special coming out.
Oh, that's right. We got those.
Specials.
That'll tide you
Specials
over.
are- Fantasy Island. Perfect. Let's watch that.
All right. Well,
Is that it?
I think we're
No,
good. The
no,
music's
no.
playing. I'm
Oh,
getting
yes,
out of
playing,
here.
playing.
I gotta run
Johnny's
away
already
from the
packing.
music.
Thanks, guys.